Alright, welcome to my channel, Kludges and Crafts Plus. This is something I'm going to say falls under the plus. I am not prone to hiring people to repair things unless it comes to, say, refrigeration. I can't do gases and things like that. I'm licensed to buy the things. In this case, we're talking about my Samsung oven, a little over 2.5 years old. I'm only making a video because there are plenty of replace the igniters videos, but I couldn't find one specifically on this style of oven or on the broiler in general. On top, it's a Samsung Duo split. We're dealing with the top element on the broiler. For access, I will pull the divider out. I have already at this point disconnected the power and turned off the gas. I'm gonna have to remove that shield so that I can get to the element on this side, and then remove that, rather the broiler shield, and then that little cover. And I've already taken a look at the back panel. I took it off and I put it back on because everything else on the stove works, just not the top element or top broiler, and I needed to order the part. So I'm going to show you what the back looks like, but I also wanted to make this video because one of the things I dealt with when I got this oven, and you wouldn't think it'd be that much of a problem, it's a gas stove, right? Hot topic these days, but the convection fans themselves take a lot of power. So it kept tripping a breaker when I was doing other things because my little standard plug down here that's designed to run the electronics on gas ovens is on the same circuit as the rest of the things in the kitchen. And during the summer when I would, be running multiple things, including the oven, it kept popping. Nothing used the voltage for the oven. So I looked online and found one of these lovely little guys, and it gives you the two independent circuits that are in this wall, the 220 amp circuits, separate with their own breakers. So now I plug my oven into that. It has its own breaker here at the wall, and I'm not on this circuit, which means that when I'm using my other things like an air fryer and whatnot, it doesn't pop my breaker anymore. And I'm now on this separate circuit that wasn't getting used at all because I don't have an electric oven. Gas is off, whatnot, but I wanted to share that. And then we're going to remove this back panel. I can show you where the element connection for the igniter is accessible, right about there. Come back when I get this off. Okay, so I want to point out on this panel that there were 8 screws, 6 along the side and then 2 on the bottom that finally let it swing out so that you can pull the top tabs out. There are 10 holes. There were 2 here, that one on each side that were not used, and that exposes this somewhat daunting if you are not comfortable with electronics or appliances. But this right here is your plug for your igniter, and I verified mine was bad without taking it out by having an ohm meter and testing it for continuity, which it was dead. So I'm about to unplug this, remove the broiler shield, and then the cover that covers this hole on the inside. The other element would be down there, and if I believe from the videos I've seen, you got to remove bottom pans and whatnot. I could not locate an end that looked like this, and I believe that's just simply because it's not accessible from this side. But well, there's a lot going on back here, that's for sure. As I said, it's unplugged, my gas is off, and I will come back once I've removed that inside broiler pan and the igniter itself is exposed. Okay, because the igniter is attached to the broiler tube and pan, you're going to want to remove the little stainless shield. It has 1 screw from there, and disconnect the wire from the back side and push it through. Be mindful of your orientation of that square hole because it is a round hole on the other side, so that when you disconnect this whole device, it's not hung up by the wire. So you can get it out and then remove it and install the new igniter on the other side. I will come back in a moment. So the broiler has 4 screws on the roof and then 1 screw on the tube in the back that you will want to disconnect all before you remove the screw here in the front. The back will drop and rest on the fan, and then you can control remove the unit for replacement. There's our old one, there's our new one. Whip out the screwdriver, make a quick switch, we'll get it back in there. You're gonna wanna be mindful that when the old unit comes off, there are several small parts. There is a spacer shim, and then there were nuts and bolts. So if you were in a place where this might drop because you weren't aware, they'd go flying. Luckily, I noticed it and held them before they fell. Okay, I just want to share one of those heart-fluttering moments for me. I was in the process of attaching the new one, and I thought to myself, oh, well, I hadn't actually looked at the old one. Let's flip it over, and let's, you know, it's a heating element. It died. I did a continuity test on the back of it. I expected it to be melted. At this point, I've replaced a number of Samsung heating elements. I have a Samsung washer and dryer. I've replaced the element on it 4 times now in the years I've had it. I flip it over and I expect to see a break. There is no visible break, at which point there is doubt in my mind that I have found the problem. So I run and get my meter, and then I come back. See if I can manage to get more probes in there. Suppose I should have had those in there to start with, but suspense. To show people what it is you're going to expect with a good unit. Sorry about all that shaking. 93 ohms. Anyway, at that point I was relieved. Okay, so yeah, it was somehow not visibly dead, but dead all the same. Anyway, onward. Okay, we're all buttoned up. Couple of tips. You're going to want to put the tube in and then start this first screw loosely so that you can then swing that pipe up into place and get that one aligned. Then you can tighten these 2 down and then hit the other 4 to lock it in place. And then lastly, reverse order, put your shield back on after you've put your wire through and connect it up. Put the, 8 screws back on the back panel and move on with your life. Put it all back together. I, however, am going to make a couple of comments about this oven stove. We got it because we like the split. I use the split frequently, much more often than I use it as a whole unit. We also got it because we like the large central burner and the wok. And yes, we use the wok. My complaints, though, would be that the temperature probe inside here is in the top section, but only works when the center divider is out, right? And you're baking in the large oven itself, which I find to be a little annoying. I mean, it's in the top. Why can't you use it in the top? You are broiling up there. And then it's also kind of a nuisance that there's no place to put the divider. It'd be nice if it fit in the drawer underneath. I have some complaints about the racks that they make that seem to be, because of the way they're welded together, they warp a little bit and aren't perfectly square, and tend to, especially the one that has the lift out section, wedge down some with weight or pushing on them, and they kind of drop and you got to pull them out and fight them to get it back in place. Other than those few nuances, most of it's good. I do, however, also want to complain is that these are damn near, I still haven't figured out how to get, and I'm about to try and see if we can get it in this video, how to get inside here to clean the back side of the glass. This comes off with an oven cleaning, which you can't do when the top broiler's not working. But the inside gets junk on it, especially when you do things like this. You open it up, right? That duo's in there split, you're pulling stuff out, and there's this gap. And that gap right there leads into the hole for the glass underneath. It's really irritating. Or here. You know, I get that there's got to be ventilation there, but there's a terrible design that you can't get to the inside of that, and I'm about to try and figure that out to clean these glass pieces and see if we can get it in this video before I put it back. We'll see. Okay, so it's not going to make the video today. I took it apart far enough to get an idea, but it's just more than I wanted to take on today. I have other things I need to do, and I'm going to point out a couple of things that, in order to remove the drawer, there are these little locks that you have to pull up to get the slide out. Makes it easier to clean. And then from there are 3 screws under here. There in the middle and there. And then this will start to swing out. But at that point, the next 2 screws are under there and only the width of a screwdriver away, which to me seems like it might be a bit challenging to put back together. At which point this would come off and I could clean the inside of this, the other side of glass, and get to the next set of screws for this piece to get it off. It's just more than I want to do today. At this point, I'm just happy that my broiler is working again, since it died in the middle of trying to do a meal, and I'm going to be using it this evening. I'm going to slip this thing back in there after I hopefully maybe raise the front, get it a little bit closer to level, and then do a test fire to make sure that it does what it's supposed to. Okay, it's back in, back to level. This is the flat pan that came on it, and I used that to the installers who brought it and delivered it. Just never, I guess, bothered. They just slid it in on the counter and left it the way it was. It was always a little irritating that the fluid ran side to side, but this is how I've done it. I've broken the element into the recyclable bits and the non-recyclable bits. And I hope you found this informative. If you have any feedback, I'd love that. If it was informative, if not entertaining, please give me a thumbs up and consider subscribing. As I said, it's Kludges and Crafts Plus. This is sort of a plus. I repair things all the time. If I can fix it myself and save some money, I will definitely do that. And thanks for watching. Yay, success, I have glow. I just came back. I wanted to do that because I had one more complaint. Unplug this thing, lose power, you gotta reset the clock. You can do it here. But it always brings you back to the fact that you're constantly reminded about this smart control. One of the things that I thought would be cool. Yeah, it's connected to my Wi-Fi. Sure, I can turn on the smart control. And then yes, I can turn on and manipulate my oven. But it does not stay on. You can't just decide, oh, well, I'm running late. I need to turn the oven on. Let me do that remotely because, oh, it might be dangerous. I get it. Security, safety. We don't want to take the responsibility for somebody hacking into your house and turning on an oven and making it do what it's already designed to do and has its own safeties to stop it from being dangerous and doing. It's an inconvenience that it's running, but let's be honest. It wouldn't start because the igniter didn't work. I couldn't even stick a lighter back there to light the darn thing. So tell me, with all the safeties in these modern devices, is it really such a problem to leave the smart control on so that I can do things with it? Because let me tell you, if I turn it on now and I start cooking, after a while it turns itself off. You can't even touch it in advance and think, oh, well, I'll just come back later, while I'm out and then turn it on. No. Because the smart control will have turned itself off already. It wants you to pick up your phone, open the app and decide, oh, I want to control it. Come over here, touch a button, and then walk away to control it. Appropriately silent, because I just don't know how to deal with that level of stupidity. Anyway, Samsung Duo element replacement, comments, like, subscribe. Again, if I couldn't pound that in enough. Probably too late in the video, but thanks for watching.